Yo, what is happening, guys? How are you doing? This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and today we have to talk about Luigi's Mansion 3. So Luigi's Mansion 3 has now officially been out for more than 1 week, and we've all been playing it. I've been playing it. I've definitely been enjoying it, and that's what I wanted to discuss. Is kind of just a quick conversation, just kind of BSing with you guys about this game. Not so much an actual review or even an impressions video, just kind of general thoughts about this game, because I've seen a really interesting sentiment that people have been sharing about this game, and the idea is that it seems to have caught a lot of people off guard just how good this game seems to be. And that makes me really happy to see, because I was always super jazzed for this game. I am a massive, crazy fanboy for the original game. I also very much liked Dark Moon on the 3DS. It was a very, very good game. I still preferred the original, but Dark Moon definitely evolved the franchise and definitely did a lot more than the original game. I'm just a sucker for nostalgic stuff, really, is what it comes down to. So my memories of playing the original on the GameCube when it launched and was brand new were just stronger and more fun than my memories of playing a 3DS sequel many years later. But there's just something weird about the way Luigi's Mansion 3 has rolled out and how people have received it, whereas it seems like people weren't super hyper-focused on this game or very excited for it, but obviously a lot of people still went out of their way to buy and to play it because it's one of the big kind of hot first-party Nintendo titles for the Switch to come out this year. And so luckily a lot of people have given it a chance, and it just seems like so many people weren't really prepared to enjoy it as much as they did. And so a big conversation I've seen from a lot of people is, holy cow, Luigi's Mansion is so good, it's suddenly a sleeper hit Game of the Year contender. I never would have suspected that. And I laughed to myself because I always suspected it for my own personal Game of the Year contender, but to see so many other people jumping on board has just been really great. And so how do I actually feel about the game? Well, and no surprise, I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Definitely one of the best games of the year. I will say, when I first started it, and I even shared this on Twitter too, when I first started it, I was thinking, man, this might actually become my Game of the Year. Right now, my front runners for Game of the Year is stuff like Resident Evil 2 Remake and Fire Emblem and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Those are really the big games that have made an impact this year. And now Luigi's Mansion 3 is right alongside of that. And so I was like, yeah, this game is so good right now, here in the early couple of hours. And I know it's only going to get better because I know what Luigi's Mansion games are like. I think there's a good chance that this might become my favorite game of the year. Now, to be fair, the time that I'm recording this video, I have not yet completed the game. I am very, very far. I think I've logged about 12 or so hours, it said. And I've gotten, I think, all but the last 2 elevator buttons, I want to say. So I still have that last itty bit of the game to go. But for the most part, I've played the majority of this game. And this game really, you guys, man, it's so good. In most ways, in most practical ways, it is better than the original, and it is better than Dark Moon. One of the things I'm really a fan of with this game, and I knew this going into it because they were talking about this a lot in the early advertising, is how you're really in just one place. You know, it's a hotel that turns into a haunted mansion in the very opening kind of cutscene of the game, as opposed to with Dark Moon, where they had this, multiple mansions thing, where when they wanted to change the environment, they just had you switch from one mansion to another one, and you're unlocking them as you go. And that was really cool and really great. Like, don't get me wrong, that was neat, and it worked perfectly for that game. But as a huge fan of the first one, which was just a nice, simple, secluded experience where Luigi is just in this one haunted house, I kind of missed that aspect. And so I liked the idea of the third game going back to putting Luigi in just one place. It's one huge ass building that's just haunted and scary, and that's where you are as Luigi. But of course, the brilliance of what they did with this game is they kind of still combined the essence of Dark Moon and the multiple mansions by giving the hotel multiple floors, and each floor has a different kind of theme and feel to it. So it was this brilliant way to marry the two ideas of the two core games. I overall still prefer, even like not necessarily making every floor different. I kind of liked the idea again of the first game with just one place. But I can't deny how amazingly well it all comes together in Luigi's Mansion 3, and the hotel vibe is just so well executed, and it is always fun to go to a new floor and think, ooh, what's this floor going to be like? What are these puzzles going to be like? And what are the ghosts of this floor going to be like? And of course the game delivers because it is just the perfect essence of that Nintendo charm, the great visuals, the quirky humor, the amazing animations, the style and the substance. Everything about the delivery and presentation of this game is top freaking notch. I think in terms of presentation alone, the only game that might still have an edge out this year is the Resident Evil 2 remake. But every other game, even my favorites of the year, Sekiro and Fire Emblem and Astral Chain and Metro Exodus, none of those games really deliver the overall feel and presentation and delivery quite like Luigi's Mansion 3. And also, going back to the variety of the floors of the mansion, with that also comes, like I hinted at, is a variety of ghosts. And I love that with every themed floor, you get a different themed villain. You know, if you're on like the Egyptian floor, you're fighting like a Cleopatra ghost. If you're on the plant or the garden floor, you're fighting like an old man gardening ghost. You know, these 3 singing ghosts with the stage. It's just really cool how much more of a changing of theme this game does, and how even the enemies you fight and the puzzles you'll solve continually change alongside of that theme. That's a huge advantage this game has over the original, where, because there wasn't a theme other than just Luigi in a scary house, the one theme was just normal-ass ghosts. It was just a bunch of ghosts until you fight King Boo at the end, spoiler alert, and then that's the game. And this one just has so much more going on in that respect. Also, each floor has its own collection of gems that are shaped and themed like that floor, like a music note gems for the music floor, dice gems for the like casino kind of floor, stuff like that. So you get a bunch of collectibles. There's a bunch of boos scattered throughout the mansion that you can collect as special extra little boo bonuses, you know. It's just, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I can kind of just continue to gush about this because everything about the game is amazing. I will say that as I've gotten farther into it, surprisingly, it's not that the game has gotten any worse, but I do think it might have pushed it farther and farther away from being my actual game of the year. I'm not coming down on one side or another yet, but again, the Resident Evil 2 remake is so strong for me that it's pretty much probably a neck-and-neck battle between these two. I mean, Fire Emblem is right there also, but I think that it's going to still, at this point, until, you know, I play Death Stranding and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I think Luigi's Mansion 3 and Resident Evil 2 are my front-runners. And Resident Evil 2 might still kind of be eking out at the end here, but I still can't say that for sure. I have to beat this game. I have to wait till the year is over and really ruminate on everything that I've played. But I think that, you know, to kind of answer the base question a lot of people have been talking about, is Luigi's Mansion 3 a surprise Game of the Year contender? I do still have to ultimately say for myself, yes. Although it's not really a surprise for me, but the general idea of it being a Game of the Year contender. It is for me, because even though I'm not, like, at the point where I know it's my favorite Game of the Year right now, it's still so good, and I'm still considering it in my top 2 or 3 of the year, that it has to be considered a Game of the Year contender. And, you know, like I said, when the year is over, and I've finally gone through the last big games of the year, Death Stranding and Star Wars, and I've got Resident Evil 2 and Sekiro and Fire Emblem and Luigi's Mansion and Star Wars and all these games under my belt, and I sit on them for a while, who knows where things start to fall. Sometimes with that little bit of separation, you think back on everything and you realize you maybe actually preferred this game over the other game just because, you know, as you think about it after it's done, you maybe just kind of change your mind. And so it's that good. It's just an amazing game. You know, I don't really have too much more to say on it, believe it or not, other than just it's fantastic, it's beautiful, it's funny, it's hilarious, it's so fun to play. The controls are hard for some people. I'm not struggling, but I have seen other people complain about the controls, so I would give you that one warning. It is a very uniquely controlling game. But it's amazing, man. It's Luigi's Mansion. I cannot believe we're so lucky to have a third game in this franchise come out. Perfect for the Nintendo Switch. It's great portably, by the way. A great portable game. And so, yeah, at the end of the year, Luigi's Mansion 3 is amazing. Definitely Game of the Year worthy. So those are my quick thoughts and kind of sort of impressions and just overall feelings on Luigi's Mansion 3. People are saying that they're surprised how good it is. To me, it's just as good as I expected, if not better. And I cannot recommend it enough. If for some reason you are somebody who has a Switch and has not yet picked this game up, it's a crazy thought. I highly recommend you check it out. It's amazing. The perfect quintessential Nintendo holiday game. experience. And so, yeah, with that, this video is a wrap. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.